Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to Free Hit here at Cricket Next with me, Anand Narasimhan, and of course, the one and only Ayaz Memon. Free Hit, perhaps what the men in blue allowed the English batsmen a free hit. कोई विकेट ही नहीं गया बैंड बजा दिया and they just dropped us, kicked us out, booted us out of the tournament. Somewhere they looked in course to perhaps win that final against Pakistan, and they emerged as perhaps the best team in the tournament. So let's look back, look ahead, and talk cricket with Ayaz bhai. Ayaz bhai, namaste. एक एक
नमस्ते आनंद
एक गाना है देवानंद का,
जी।
क्या हो गया बेवफा तेरे प्यार में, चाहा क्या क्या मिला बेवफा तेरे प्यार में.
मैं एक और गाना सुनाता हूँ देवानंद का। मैं
हाँ,
जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया, हर
हर फिक्र
फिक्र
को
को धुएं में।
उड़ाता चला गया.
ये गाना अब द इंडियन प्लेयर शुडंट बी सिंगिंग दैट सॉन्ग कि हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला गया, बट देयर इज अ नीड टू लुक बैक एंड ऑब्वियसली देन हाउ टू लुक अहेड। आई थिंक दैट्स रियली द स्टोरी फ्रॉम द वर्ल्ड कप आफ्टर द रिजल्ट।
But the story has been at big tournaments for a while. 2015 से लेकर के अब तक we always flatter to deceive. Have you been able to put a finger on the problem?
वेल यू नो एवरीबॉडी इज पुटिंग अ फिंगर। मैंने तो पूरा हाथ ही रख दिया है कि नहीं, बिल्कुल सही है जो आपने कहा है कि फ्रॉम 2013 व्हेन वी वन द चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी वी हैवंट वन anything. I mean, we've reached the final of the World Test Championship, the
Yeah.
semi-final in two World Cups in 2019 and 2015. This time we reached the semi-final. Last year, of course, we got knocked out in the first round itself. The point is that, you know, much as we keep saying we are the greatest, we've got the best players, we've got the richest cricket body, we've got the biggest talent pool, we somehow cannot seem to make that jump from being a very good team into being a champion team. And that's where one needs to put a finger on what's really going wrong. Because it can't be for 8-9 years आप हर time जाते हैं. I mean, T20 format can be fickle, we all know that, you know, but at the same time, you somewhere or the other you say, okay, there's a breakthrough moment, and it's not happening. I thought World Test Championship in 2021, we lost to New Zealand despite being the top Test team for 3 years. Number
Yeah.
one Test team for 3 years. We went and just, you know, kind of failed in the final. तो ये क्या हो रहा है, क्या वजह है कि आप बड़ी मैच में जाते हैं, बड़े टूर्नामेंट में जाते हैं, तो यू आर रीचिंग यू नो काइंड ऑफ अ pitfall. You just can't seem
Yeah.
to get past that pitfall. And I think, Anand, if I may say so, I don't think it has to do with the talent. I mean, you know, we can keep saying सबको overhaul कर दो, सब बदल दो, टीम बदल दो, ये
Correct.
कर दो, वो कर दो. I don't think that's really the issue. It is partly perhaps the solution. I think what is needed is a more constructive, a more, you know, well thought out. I mean, the thought process has to change, in my opinion. अगर आप thought process change करोगे, when you're looking for excellence and for winning, not for backslapping each other and saying, wow, look at us, how great we are, then I think you will start making progress. You might still stumble, but you'll say, I haven't reached, मैं अब तक मंजिल पे पहुंचा नहीं हूँ, मुझे और आगे जाना है. But if you say that we are, you know, look at us, we are the best, I don't think that it's not paid dividends so far, so why should it pay dividends in the future? I think the talk, मैं थोड़ा philosophical हो रहा हूँ, the
जी.
conversation within in the cricket establishment in India needs to be talking more about achievement and winning, rather than saying, you know, 50,000 crore हमने इसमें बना लिया, मीडिया राइट्स में बना लिया, इसमें ये हो गया, which is all fine, that is all par for the, you know, that has to be done. But
Correct.
what are we doing to win tournaments? Ultimately, that's your, I mean, that's the job.
No, I'll tell you. I partly agree, partly disagree. Please allow me that.
Yeah,
The thing is that none of these players want to lose. They're each of these people, each of these players individually on their day can single-handedly जिताओ मैचेस. अभी 11
yeah,
में से 6 लोग मिल गए और 6 चल गए तो हम 6 मैच जीत गए, टूर्नामेंट अपना हो गया. That's how capable they are. So it's not like
right.
we are not producing the best. Some of all our players, most of our players are among the top 5, top 6 in world rankings, be it batsman, bowler, irrespective of the format. They're all featuring there. Somewhere do you believe that uh, the people who are, you have to hold somebody responsible, so the coach and the captain. Let's say, has Rohit Sharma learnt it the hard way that he may be one of the best T20 captains in the IPL, but T20 international is a different ball game altogether. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
And Rahul Dravid, who was asked to be the coach, somewhere his heart is not there with this lot. the kind of magic that he's done with the under 19s, it's not translating with the seniors and the pros. Let's take the bull by the horns.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good question. So yes, it's a it's a rude awakening, if I might put it like that, for Rohit Sharma. 5 IPL titles, and he's come to grief here. Also because personally उसका खुद का भी बल्ला नहीं चला. So he was out
Yeah.
of form. One of the reasons why India struggled, and of course he was the captain, and therefore India bombing is going to be किसी को तो गले में हार पहनना है. So he will have to take that that
नहीं,
responsibility.
वो प्रेशर अलग होता है सर. इंटरनेशनल का जो प्रेशर होता है ना, जब
ये
आप
है.
कैप्टन होते हो और वो उसके परफॉर्मेंस पे शायद अफेक्ट करे, वो मानेगा नहीं, बट मे बी दैट्स व्हाट्स अफेक्टिंग इट.
Maybe that's true, but what I'm saying is that the gap between domestic cricket and international
Yeah.
cricket is humongous.
Yeah.
So IPL, you may be you have a fantastic record. It does not automatically translate into a great record for at the international level. Let me give you an example in a different way. Going into this World Cup, the two guys from England who are out of form, so to speak, were Josh Butler and Ben Stokes. बेन स्टोक्स के बारे में तो बात हो रही थी कि इसको ले जाना चाहिए कि नहीं. He has given up ODI cricket and why is he continuing in T20 cricket? He was struggling.
फाइनल उसी ने जिताया.
फाइनल उसी ने जिताया, श्रीलंका के खिलाफ उसी ने जिताया. और मैं एक और बताऊंगा बात यहाँ पर कि we talk about the template and the strike rate and our guys didn't do that and these guys did that. Look at Ben Stokes' strike rate, it's not staggering. What he did was he won the matches for his team.
Correct.
He won the matches from a very tough situation, and both, even in the final, Pakistan had come roaring back into the match through their pace attack. And you needed somebody to soak up that pressure, absorb that pressure, not worry about strike rate and all that. कि एक, like एकलव्य, कि मेरा एक ही लक्ष्य है, वो मैच जिताना है मुझे. And he got it. And now nobody's talking about his strike rate. They're talking about how wonderfully he batted and marshaled his team to victory. So I think that we can all get drowned in all kinds of brouhaha about strike rate hona chahiye. Of course, all those play a major role, but ultimately, what is your methodology of winning the match while you're playing? And the only time actually which India did it extremely well was against Pakistan. With the way they chased, their wits were about them. Virat playing the innings of a lifetime, Hardik making a fantastic contribution, and don't forget, even R. Ashwin, उस ऐसे नाजुक कड़ी पे to let go of that wide and make sure that you are not going to lose the match. You will go into super over. You have to keep your wits about you. ये नहीं है कि भाई I must bother about my strike rate and winning it लगाओ और out हो गए तो क्या करोगे फिर? So I think T20 and over, one catch, one run out can just completely transform the game. So you have to keep your wits about you all the time. Of course, you must know how to use the arsenal at your disposal, the players at your disposal. किसको आप कब खिलाते हो, कैसे खिलाते हो. Josh Butler was marvelous with the way he handled his bowlers, especially Adil Rashid. Middle overs, of course he had Sam Curran doing a wonderful job at the start and in the death. But middle overs में पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ आदिल रशीद, इंडिया के खिलाफ आदिल रशीद, these were not bowlers which were a threat to batsmen from Asia. Correct. But look at what has happened. So I think you have to give credit to England for doing everything right. They worked it out extremely well. One thing which has made a big change, Anand, I just thought I'll bring this to your notice, is Rob Key, a former player, England player as you might know, has come in as managing director cricket operations or whatever his designation is. And the whole conversation, the thought process is about cricket finding players who will win matches and how to win the tournament. That is my point. That has to be a consistent talk. It's not that हमारे लोग बात नहीं करते, ये नहीं है, पर आप किस तरह से कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हो. आपके ड्रेसिंग रूम में, आप डगआउट में क्या बातचीत हो रही है, आपके स्टेट एसोसिएशन में जब सिलेक्टर्स जा रहे हैं और प्लेयर्स को चुनने देख रहे हैं, when they are spotting these players, what is the conversation going on is my point.
I agree, and you hit a lot of nails on the head there. But the other aspect is, what would you say that a team whose strength we talked about it, कि usually batting के बारे में बात करते हैं, इस बार we the one concern area which was not there at all was bowling. How is it that this bowling unit, which bowled so beautifully right through the tournament, could not take a single wicket against the English? And see, this is not the first time it's happening. क्रंच मैचेस में बॉलिंग फ्लॉप हो जाती है, कोई ना कोई एक तो फ्रीज हो जाता है. शमी हुआ पहले पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ, उससे पहले हमारे और भी तो एक दो बॉलर्स यही घुस गए. बुमराह के साथ हुआ ये. When we want it, why does this bowling suddenly look so lackluster?
See, Anand, you gave up your a vocation of your choice, which was to be an actor, and you became an anchor. And, and then from sports anchor, you became a universal anchor. But there is a, there's only one way I can define it, कि ये क्या होता है, and that is stage fright. You know what? कि आप बड़े occasion पे आप, there is no stage fright in Ben Stokes. He's done it match after match so many times, and you start marveling at the guy. World Cup, ODI World Cup, in the Ashes Test matches, in this T20 World Cup. I mean, it's the ability to rise to the occasion is given to the rarest of rare. That's what makes you a special player.
Correct.
I think our problem is they are getting bogged down or they are losing their nerve when the pressure of expectation reaches a certain level, which is becoming difficult for the players to absorb. And I'm saying this without any, I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but that's the only way to say it. Because देखिए 2019 World Cup we lost in the semi-finals to New Zealand.
Correct.
Till then we looked the best team in the tournament. I mentioned about World Test Championship, we looked the best
You're
team.
number one.
We were number one. वहाँ गए final में हम हार गए. Last year when the T20 World Cup happened in UAE, we started as favourites, especially because of being played in Asia. हम पहले ही 2 matches हार गए, Pakistan से और New Zealand से, and we were out. And not just that, when it came to South Africa, we went there in the test series. We had the first test which we won, we lost the test series.
Yeah.
When we went to England this time, we needed to just draw the last test match to clinch the series. We lost that test match.
We lost this test.
So there is something happening. And I think it is stage fright because the burden of expectation. These are high quality players. But somewhere there's a fragility in the temperament and the mindset. That's what I see.
But where is this coming from? Because if you're soaking up pressure day in and day out, when you know you have a billion expectations, you are supposed to be somebody who knows how to deal with this pressure because you are somewhere accustomed to it. So much so कि players जब तक स्टेडियम में शोर नहीं होता बैटिंग नहीं कर पाते हैं, bowling नहीं कर पाते हैं जब शोर नहीं होता. They want ambient noise. A lot of them like to practice with the noise in their
That's
thing,
true.
ambient noise. Yeah, they like to do it because and when they go back to play domestic matches, खाली स्टेडियम में उनसे player performance ही नहीं होता क्योंकि उनको लगता है माहौल नहीं बना है. So clearly they are used to that pressure. So why will they get stage fright? Is it because the focus has now moved away from fitness and mental toughness to try and manage pedigree, or is it something else?
I think you're right. I mean, it's an assortment of things. It's not just कि आपको see talent is there. We know that skills they're second to none in terms of skills. In terms of temperament, certainly nobody has the temperament of a Ben Stokes in this team, in the Indian team. Let me say it up front. Maybe a Virat to an extent. I thought Hardik Pandya was exceptional, even in the match we lost, but not too many else. I like the look of young Arshdeep Singh. He's fabulous for somebody who's only about 20, 21. But, and this is the irony that ikka dukka, you can think of a young player, maiden series, you struggle, you lose your nerve. That's not happened with Arshdeep. The guys who've lost their nerve are people like KL Rahul. The guy who didn't deliver was Rohit Sharma. I mean, these are the people who, Dinesh Karthik, who was built up as this great, finisher who will take us home. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get too many opportunities also. That's not the point. The point is that he couldn't deliver in the tournament for which he had worked so hard to get into.
Correct.
So what is happening, I think is, and again I may sound harsh, that sometimes I feel we are getting our players maybe getting consumed by their own hype or the hype which surrounds them, and not giving enough thought and attention that ये tournament में आप अकेले नहीं आए हो जीतने के लिए, बाकी 10 टीम भी आई है, उनके पास भी बड़े तोड़म खान players है.
Correct.
2 or 3 of them come good and they can beat you. And that's what's happened. I mean, yes, we lost to South Africa. We looked a very good team even going into the semi-finals. But what's happened is it was so one-sided that you wonder what the hell went. I mean, I have not seen such a one-sided match that India has played in many, many years.
Correct. It was quite shocking. Somewhere, do you think too much of chopping and changing is also leaving them unsettled? See, Dhoni to a point, it was a fault he would back a player. He said, "यही team खेलेगी." IPL में भी किया उसने, tournaments में भी किया है. चाहे कोई भी pitch हो, यही team खेलेगी. He would not chop and change too much. He would back. अच्छा ठीक है, इसका चल नहीं रहा है चप्पू 4, 5, 10 match दे दिया इसको. But inevitably that player would come back and say 9वां 10वां match में he would deliver.
right.
एंड आके एक मैच जिता के जाएगा, चल 5 मैच फ्लॉप, छठा मैच तो जिताया. So there was that part कि भाई इतना why are you giving them such an here do you think Rohit and Rahul were perhaps too fickle, too many chopping and changes which were happening because it was not
कुछ
the same
लोगों
team that played any match back to back.
या कुछ लोगों का मानना है दे वर टू रिजिड इन देयर
हाँ.
थॉट प्रोसेस कि आप ये बैटिंग ऑर्डर आपने डिसाइड कर लिया उससे आप हटे नहीं आई मीन यू टुक पंत टुवर्ड्स द एंड and then of course you didn't know where to play him. Should he have opened, should he have gone higher up in the semi-final? I mean, all these are questions that can be raised now. I think what may have happened and is maybe the process or the period of experimentation, Anand, ये बहुत लंबा चला. From last year December it went on and on and on till November this year, and somewhere I think they kept dithering about Pant or DK, not made up their mind, we didn't know. बुमराह ब्रेकिंग डाउन, आयु शामी को लास्ट मिनट पे बुलाया कि अब आप आ जाओ. सिराज, सी वी गॉट प्रॉब्लम ऑफ प्लेंटी एंड वी गॉट इनफ मनी टू डू व्हाट वी वांट. द बीसीसीआई, यू कैन फ्लाई 15 players to Australia, as a backup and a backup to a backup and a backup to a backup to a backup, but that's not going to help you win matches. You can take 50 players, you still need to have a certain crystallized game plan. You can make switches based on the conditions that you see. I mean, in the match against England, Anand, and this struck me as quite amazing. Okay, they went by the pattern of what had happened in this tournament. Okay, 160, 165 is a good total
Par
to
score.
be competitive. Par score competitive. While England really read that pitch and the conditions superbly. And they knew that इनको अगर आप 160 100 तक रखो, 170 तक रखो, अगर 200 होता है then other factors come into play. They have to take more risks. Our spinners come into play a little differently. That didn't happen. So I thought that a lot of the thinking was a little confused, if I might put it like that.
देखिए final 2.5 minutes because I believe you have a boat to catch, although I would have wanted to put the Indian team on a boat and say paddle all the way back from Australia. तुम्हारी यही सजा है. Now Rahul is taking a break. VVS Lakshman is going to New Zealand. Rohit Sharma is benched. You think Roger Binney and Rahul Dravid need to have a chat? You see Rahul Dravid continuing this role for long. What do you think is the road ahead?
No, I think Rahul Dravid will continue. I mean, he's a man of great experience, and obviously we all know he's a thoughtful person. He thinks about his cricket, and as you mentioned at the start, India under 19, India under 25, India A teams, he's been grooming them quite marvelously. But what you mentioned is of more importance to me. Does Roger Binney have a role to play? I think absolutely. He's the president of the BCCI. He's a former World Cup winning player. He's somebody who's spent a lifetime in domestic cricket and international cricket. He understands how players can succeed or fail, and once they fail, what needs to be done. And I think he needs to play a far more proactive role. By talking to Dravid, by even having conversations with selectors, not sitting in meetings with them to choose the players. Like it happened with the previous, at times with the previous BCCI president. I don't think that's not the role. But I think, and I keep going back, I say that Roger Binney needs to pick up the gauntlet and say, let's infuse fresh thought and fresh ambition and fresh milestones that we have to meet. We may not meet them, but at least अब इंग्लैंड के सामने हम हार गए सेमीफाइनल में. हारना is not a बुरा thing, यार. We can lose. It's a match. But to lose the way we did, was I think such a big letdown. And it's that when you look at it, this was such a big letdown. And then your mind, as your first question was, ये 2015 से चल रहा है. So everybody knows there's a sense of deja vu अब कि यार इंडियन टीम जो है सेमीफाइनल तक पहुंच जाएगी कैसे भी करके, पर वहां के बाद उम्मीद मत रखो. That should change. That should change.
You think, final question, you think we should have 3 separate captains and 3 different teams altogether? बड़े बूढ़ों को बोलो तुम, the progression should be T20 to ODI, ODI to Test, या रिवर्स में चल रहा है, टेस्ट से सब T20 की तरफ आ रहे हैं.
हाँ देखिए, मेरे ख्याल से ये शायद होगा कि हो सकता है कि वाइट बॉल एंड रेड बॉल सेपरेट हो जाए. कैप्टनसी में तो है. I don't know about the coach's assignment के how long does he have, a 3-year period or a 4-year period or 2-year, then he can take a call or not. more and more it's becoming, for most teams. Let's look at specialized. England
Yeah.
has a T20 coach. You know,
Hmm.
Ben Stokes has given up playing ODI. He's playing only
Yeah.
T20, and so all kinds of permutations and combinations players are trying for themselves also. I mean,
Hmm.
Sam Billings, I was just reading, the English
Yeah.
wicket-keeper batsman has decided not to play the IPL next
IPL.
season because he wants to concentrate on getting into Test cricket.
Ashes.
And of
Ashes.
course, Michael Vaughan, the former England captain, has now put out a plea for Ben Stokes to reconsider not playing ODI and say, go to India and play the ODI World Cup. You might help win it for us. So, I mean, there's a lot of exciting things happening in international cricket, but some little shaking up needs to be done in India, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating कि आप 15 16 प्लेयर को चेंज कर दो और बदल दो और on the war path. I don't think that's the way. I think the same players, or most of the same players with infusion of some fresh blood, or players talked to a little differently and given some role definition. Joss
Hmm.
Butler gave a role definition to Ben Stokes कि आपको इस टीम
Yeah.
को संभालना है. You're the biggest, you're our best bet, you're the senior pro, you're the guy who can help us win. That's what he did. So
Correct.
that is the kind of communication and conversation which I am saying needs to be happening all the time. Not
Yeah.
after a tournament हार गए उसके बाद नहीं. अब शुरू कर रहे हैं तब से होना चाहिए.
Correct. कुछ भी हो जीतना है. That has to be the underlying thing. That no matter what, we have to win, and we need to do what it takes to win.
Yeah,
Somewhere,
everything
perhaps.
else you should just cut out it. I
Yeah.
mean, make the
Yeah.
effort to just plan to win.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Ayaz. And we're going to call close to this conversation here at Free Hit. नहीं तो इनका boat miss हो जाएगा. So happy on voyage.
As just
And
as India missed the boat in Australia, I don't want to miss my boat.
okay. See you.
All
On
right,
that
take
note,
care.
we'll bring this episode of Free Hit to a close. Namaste.